What's going on, folks? One half of the Sabres Spotlight podcast here. Just letting you know that we tried to clean up the audio on this episode as much as possible, but we were having some technical difficulties throughout the show, so you might notice perhaps like some absences of conversation or maybe little hiccups. Again, we try to clean up as much as possible to make it as smooth a listen, so hopefully that works out. But just a disclaimer here before you start listening that it might not be the smoothest of episodes this time around. But lots of great content nonetheless, so bear with us and we'll get through it together. But looking forward to posting this episode and getting all this information and great discussion out to you guys. We'll see you next week. What is going on, Sabres fans, and welcome to another episode of the Sabres Spotlight podcast where we shine a light on all things Sabres hockey. Ryan, what's going on?
Nothing much. I missed you.
I know, man. It's been like 2 weeks since we recorded, which we kind of knew was going to happen with me going away on vacation. And but it was kind of nice because we could have done a show last week. We could always find things to talk about, but now there's a little bit more going on. We're one day away from the draft, which is tomorrow, so we can do some pre-draft stuff. There's been a couple press conferences that we can talk about. So the little break was nice. I felt like I rested up and rejuvenated, but certainly ready to rock and roll with some more Sabres content. What's new with you?
It's been, last week when you were on vacation, it was also like 90 degrees here. So, I work outside. I was fucking cooking all week long. And then, this week has been a little bit better, a little rainy. So I'm doing all right, hanging in there. You're right though. That week you were gone, you picked a really good week to leave because nothing really goes on, and then you come back and we're starting to get in the thick of the off season here. Like everything's starting to happen around the league and with the Sabres, so it's really fun.
Yep. So as you can see from the title of this show, we're getting into some offseason content here. Draft is tomorrow, and we're hoping that we get some deals coming in our way, either whether it's trades, free agency, whatever's going to be in store for us Sabres fans over the next couple weeks. But we're going to get into the thick of things today. We'll kind of start with some of the press conferences that we had. There's been a couple since we last spoke.
Multiple.
It's been kind of nice actually, and I listened to the one today from Kevyn Adams and kind of integrated it with some of our notes from the other ones. So we'll kind of like combine them in and just kind of talk about everything all in once here as we go, because some of the stuff they talked about last week has changed a little bit from now. So we'll kind of elaborate on all of that stuff as we go. But the initial press conference was. I think it was labeled kind of a pre-draft conference, but it was also kind of with the announcement of Jerry Fortin being like promoted to assistant GM. So it was kind of like a 2-for-1, I guess. And Jerry is obviously very involved in the scouting process and things. So it was kind of nice to hear from both of them. Adams took the mic on most of the questions, as most were pretty much directed at him anyways. But the first thing that I think we should start. We mentioned this a little bit in the last show, but I think we should talk about it a little bit because Adams has elaborated on it a little bit more. Is the Jeff Skinner rumors, and I think if we talked yesterday, like if we recorded yesterday, maybe our thoughts would have been a little bit different as today. I don't know. Where are you leaning? Are you thinking this is still going to happen? Are you leaning no? I think when Adams talked a week ago, he basically said nothing is off the table. And if something's going to make the team better, they're going to explore it. It seemed like then things were trending more towards like this is definitely going to happen. Like this is going to be a reality. Although today he talks and he almost seemed a little bit annoyed with it. He was asked about Skinner's camp and if there's been any talks about him waiving his, no move clause. And he basically just said no, like kind of gave a short, like one word answer. So where are you at right now with this whole Jeff Skinner buyout?
Oh, Jeff Skinner's definitely played his last game as a Sabre. Like it's over. It's done. Adams is definitely like pressing the Skinner camp to waive his no trade. I bet he's got a couple deals like done. I bet he's got like, Skinner for a fourth round pick or like Skinner retained for a second, half retained for a second. And, to a team that would kind of utilize him, give him ice time like a Utah or San Jose. And he's like, not fucking going to Utah or San Jose. Like, well within his right to do.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
we are absolutely buying him out like it's over. Like the Skinner. I love Jeff Skinner. I'm gonna be sad when it happens, but Adams is gonna press their camp over the weekend, and they have until the 30th to do so. But he's definitely played his last game as a Sabre.
Yeah. So then the question really just kind of becomes like, is is the Adams going to be able to get anything out of it, or are they just going to have to buy him out and basically just kind of in that scenario? Do they just waive
Yeah,
him?
no,
Like, is that what happens? Or
he doesn't need to go through waivers. They just buy him out of the contract, and he becomes a UFA.
oh, okay,
So
all right,
it's the buyout's interesting though because like we were talking the one episode maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe it was last week. It actually frees up $7 million this year. So like
right,
most savings is this year. So you're thinking in a fan's head, okay, if they do this, they don't value his roster spot, or they value his roster spot, I mean, but they don't value his play. And we all saw last year Skinner was decent in the beginning of the year. I mean, he did score 24 goals, but I love Jeff Skinner, and I have felt like his goals like almost don't matter because how bad he is defensively and how much he kills the power play. So like he might give you a 5-on-5 goal here and there, and he's been really good at that throughout his career. But he's 32, and it's time to find something different now. With today, it's been hard because there's lots of guys that I want the Sabres to trade for. Like there's been targets, you know. Andrew Mangiapane just came up, and an hour ago, half hour ago, he just got traded for a second round pick, and it's like this is the benefit of the Skinner buyout is you're freeing up a roster spot. Well, that buyout is like doesn't make sense unless you fill that spot with another player.
right now, yeah, because that's when the cap space frees up. Yep. So
Yep.
I guess we'll excuse me. I guess we'll see what happens with that. I think, like you said, I think it's going to happen either way. We'll just have to see whether or not Adams can make a move and get something for it to make it a little bit more digestible, I guess. But in Adams talks today, he did say that, which makes you believe it's definitely happening too. Is like he basically said like Jeff's a great scorer. He's been in this league a long time, but are you going to are you going to bring him back for basically a bottom six role? He kind of alluded to the fact that like he's not going to be playing like top line minutes, so we have to do something, and hopefully we can. But I thought that his comments there were pretty telling. Basically, just saying like, listen, he's not really in the future plans right now, so
Right.
we're gonna try and make it happen if we can. But as far as future plans go, he did get into some draft analysis. I was, of course, asked about trading the 11th pick. And, of course, now with the news breaking today that we've traded the 11th pick for more picks. So we'll start with that, I guess, and maybe your thoughts on this. As today, we trade the 11th pick to San Jose for pick 14 and pick 42, a second round pick. Also own pick 43. So we move back 3 spots, get the additional second round pick. Adams has said that they're open to trading up, trading down, staying and picking. Says he's alerted all other teams that they're open for business, and says that they have a lot of talented prospects, so they can make a move if needed. So he's saying all the right things as of this moment. Again, we're recording this on Thursday night, the night before the draft. This is all we have to go on. So what are your thoughts, and what are you feeling right now as opposed to, or as it goes with like this move, and what you think Adams is going to maybe do pre-draft tomorrow?
Well, Mike Greer, like I don't think he's very good at GMing so far. Like he's made a couple odd moves, you know, uh, picked up Barclay Goodrow like off or traded for Barclay Goodrow before he went on waivers. They they he just got Jake Wallman, great move by him, but like this move, weird ass move. Like thank you for the additional second round pick for moving up 3 spots in a kind of bad draft.
Yeah, it does
Before the
seem
draft
weird.
is even before the draft even starts, like you don't know who's there at 11, so like thank you, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is just more ammunition for the Sabres to move. Like, they got 2 seconds now and a first. I I would honestly be okay if they did not make a pick until the third round.
I know. So, like, my initial thought with this is like, well, I guess so. Would you rather have made this? It's nice getting another pick, I guess, but in retrospect, it doesn't matter if nothing's done. You know what I mean? So like the only way this trade is likely of value is if they're planning on moving that pick. And if he couldn't move, my concern is that if he couldn't move the pick 11, are we just going to be able to move pick 14 plus when why couldn't you just do that with pick 11 plus? So like right
I
now I'm kind of feeling like this pick's not getting moved. Like my as far as like my confidence in that happening and my faith in Adams to get that done is very low because why couldn't we just do it with pick 11?
I guess, but in this draft, if they really say that like after 6, like the next 20 guys are all interchangeable, like it's not a very like deep class in terms of like you're getting a high end guy like at a certain tier. Like a lot of guys are similar prospects, so it's fine to move back 3 spots because like you're not like holy shit you missed out on X player at 11 because if we do pick like another player will be there at 14. And another thing is just
As
like
long as there's no drop off there, like you said.
we what if we move a prospect tomorrow? Like what if we move a Savoy or a Roseanne or a Kulig? Like I'm a
I
fan of
want them to, but I would have just done that with pick 11. You probably get more
yeah, but
value.
you don't know what's out there. So like there's options. Like there's still options. Like let's say they move 2 guys tomorrow morning. And well, on all shit, we kind of got to make this first round pick because you need to backfill a prospect, in a couple years. So I'm happy we're accumulating assets, but like you said, just we got to move them. Like you have to. Like by tomorrow, the draft is on. If we don't move assets, before the first pick is made or like when we're on the clock, we're all going to be very mad.
Oh well, that's what I was just gonna say. I'm a little more pessimistic than you right now, but I'm not freaking out. I just don't have as much faith, and I don't think you have a ton of faith in Adams either. I'm just remaining skeptical because we have to see him make these moves. So I'm just skeptical. I'm not freaking out. Like a lot of Twitter is like freaking out right now on social media. Like there's still time. A lot can happen in 24 hours before the draft tomorrow, and I hope that those moves are made. I guess I'm just kind of more so like, all right, well, if we're gonna do it, let's do it because we can't just go into this draft and do the same thing we've done for the last 3 years. We've talked about how this is a different offseason, so we have to treat it and approach it differently. So I hope that they do. As far as the Sabres being in a spot for changes, like we've talked about, Adams has said and made it known that this is the first season as GM that he feels they're more open to trading and doing deals. He said that they've stuck to their plan so far. They feel like they've built things up the right way, but they're entering a new phase. He says that players and agents have told him that they would want to play for Lindy and would be willing to waive no movement clauses to do so. Ultimately, that would be helpful in winning over players and enticing them to come over. So Adams is again, he's certainly kind of making it known that this is what we want to do, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anything you care to elaborate on there before I
Well,
keep going here?
Adams does a lot of stuff, and then guys with no trades get sent to other teams, and it's like, well, did you make an offer or did that guy say no to you? So what
Yeah,
what are we doing here?
I know, and that's what's so annoying right now about social media. Is like we've talked about this before, and I know that there's like Buffalo's not like on every player's like list of like where they want to go, and there probably are a lot of these players on like no trades. But like I'm not just gonna give every guy that moves. I'm just not gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Adams and just say like, oh yeah, it was probably on like a no trade clause. That just seems like an easy cop out. So I'm just like, personally, I'm not gonna assume that because then it's just like he just gets off the hook if he doesn't make moves, and we're not gonna be privy to that information likely anyways. So I don't know. It's just I'm in such a weird spot with him because, like I said, again, I'm not freaking out, but like I just freaking want him to do something. Like
Right, I
just do
know we're
something.
all we're all on pins and needles here, just like waiting. You know, that's the hardest part. But you know, that's all we can really do, and we just have to hope that management comes through and makes a couple moves here. Part of me also feels like a little bit like if they get like a mid-ass player, like let's say, I guess not mid, I guess let's say they move like 14 or like 43 or 44 plus like a mid-level prospect for like Joel Farabee. Okay, that's your top 6 move. The
Right.
top 6 is set. Like really only the additions that we need are a third line center that can take, responsibility from Cousins if he falters again, and then some more bottom six guys. So like, I know we're all itching for moves, but they're not difficult players to find. Like this should be Adams should have the easiest. It's a busy off season, but it's an easy off season in my opinion. Like it's not. We're not dying out here for like scoring talent. We're not dying out here for um defensive. Like we have two first overall picks and a fourth overall pick on defense. Like just get a partner for one of those guys, and then we're set. And it's like just go do it, and we'll be happy.
Do you think? Do you think? See, after seeing Casey's deal that came out, do you think?
Good deal for
Would
him.
you? Yeah, yeah, not bad, and I don't think that that would have been a bad deal for the Sabres either. So I guess my question is, do you think because we clearly need a centerman
Yeah.
going back to that trade? Do you think that was like looking at it now? Do you think it's easier? Would it have been easier to just find a demon, or and would you rather have Casey right now as far as like the offseason goes, or do you think they're happy with the move and where they're going?
Who like what Byram does under Lincoln? Like it's exciting. He's got good talent. I kind of also think they want a different style of center. Like Middlestat's a offense first, primarily passing center. I kind of think they want a guy that can play better defense.
Yeah, I mean, I it doesn't matter to me really. I just think where Adams has talked about that they need to get a centerman, and it just seems like man, like you had one and you let him go, and I'm fine with it. Like I'm not going to dwell on it too much either. They made the move, and that's the kind of stuff we want. And I think Byram can be a good player. It's just tough right now when we're looking for centers, and those are so much harder to obtain than just like a forward, you know. So we definitely need someone who can drive some third line play. What makes me nervous about them being able to acquire that is his press conference today, where when he talked a week ago, he talked about a Krebs extension, and
Yeah,
he did say that in Krebs's exit interview, he told him that he can be a 200-foot center in the NHL, and that there seems to be this shift in Krebs's thinking of, listen, I still want to be contributing offensively where I can, but I understand that if that's something that I'm capped at, I want to try and grow in these other areas to be, kind of a more well-rounded player. And I think that's good. Like that's something he should be saying. That's something we want to hear. But it wasn't like when he was asked a week ago, besides him saying that, he did say these are important players to us, and that they want to get a deal done with him. But it wasn't like over the moon like endorsements and things. And not that I thought he was going to move him, but I get a little bit more worried today when I hear when he's asked about trades and whatnot, and again that he hasn't been able to do anything specifically with like centers. He just immediately goes to doubling down on Krebs and is like all excited about it, and it just makes me feel that like that's a hedge at like if I can't get anything done and it's not looking like I'm going to be able to get anything done, like the plan was Krebs all along. So like I didn't fail, guys. This is what I wanted, and that makes me a little nervous. And Adams has said he wants to add some more physicality, some more grit, especially on the bottom line. So he's kind of made it known. So again, I think he's targeting the right areas as far as like he said he wants to get a top six winger. He said he wants to get a third line center. He's looking at adding the grit and the physicality to kind of reshape the bottom six. Which if you move Krebs to that fourth line center role, like that can be a good plan. Now it's just a matter of bringing all those things together. I want to stick on current players before we get back to the draft here for a couple other points. But he was asked also about other players that are eligible for extensions, UPL and Henry Jokiharju. Again, what else is he going to say? But he did say that he expects deals to get done with them, and he's engaged in conversations. I think we're both in the camp of Henry being an expendable asset, and then UPL, needing an extension. There are a couple other things I wanted to highlight on the draft, and then we can maybe talk about that since it's tomorrow. Anything we might have there, but he did say Jerry Fortin kind of gave some interesting insights, I thought, on like Russian players and perhaps dropping them down the board. And
I got a counter to this. You can read what he said, but I have a counter.
okay, yeah, that's cool. So I just he because this is not something that I necessarily thought of, but he did kind of mention about how them not competing in world tournaments right now, and maybe having their development slowed because of that, or not having access to these players like as much as other leagues, or not having time to acclimate to like the new culture like North American hockey. That if there's players that they're seeing kind of on a similar tier, that it might lead to them kind of dropping like Russian players down, and it seems like that's maybe not exclusive to the Sabres, and other teams are kind of on the same wavelength of thinking too, from what Fortin was saying. But again, I don't know if I don't know how many like Russians are top prospects for this upcoming draft, and if the Sabres are interested in them. But if they are, it's kind of interesting just to hear him say that this thing could have an effect on where they slate them on their board.
Well, let me do some history for you. The Russian factor has always been a thing, like going back decades. And for some reason, the NHL is just terrified of Russians and whether or not they'll come over. And I get they have their own league, and they've always had their own league, but I think, to counter Jerry Fortin's point about Russians, which, like I said, is talked about all the time, college players are the bigger risk right now. College players are the biggest risk to bolt your team than more than Russian players, or like any other like country of origin. Look at all the players that have either threatened to play out 4 years and pick their school, especially goalies, or as in recent years, literally this year, Cutter Gauthier told Philly, "I'm not playing for you." Gets traded to Anaheim. Who the fuck is it? Oh, Rucker McGroarty from Winnipeg. He's literally telling them, "Hey, I'm not playing for you. I'm just gonna go back to school, play out my senior year if you don't trade me." Look at, like, you only get 4 years with these guys to either put them in the NHL lineup, or they're crying their way out of their organization. So college players are scary, man. I mean, look, even with Ryan Johnson, it took almost the whole summer for us to convince him to sign. It's a risk.
Yeah, those are all good points. So I think every pick comes with risk, and they're going to digest that on draft night and kind of see where they're picking, and what's the risk as far as like where they're from, and demographics and all those things. So hopefully they whether they stick at 14 or whether they go somewhere else, that it works out and they're able to develop those guys like they have the rest of their guys. But he did also mention, when asked, this was originally a week ago, asked about pick 11. So this has changed now to of course, pick 14 with the recent trade with San Jose. But Jerry Fortin did say that the league seems to have the top 5 picks agreed on in this draft. But after that point, it's a little bit more disagreement as far as like player rankings go. So he was saying how if the Sabres stick at 11, again, now 14, he thinks they could still get like one of their top 7 or 8 players. And he said that he believes that their prospects pool is well balanced, and that the top 15 picks are well balanced also. So this will likely lead to them just kind of taking the best player available, which I don't necessarily think there's any surprises here for us as far as like them needing to draft for need. I think they're in a spot where they can go with like best player available, but
Right.
I guess it's kind of good to hear him say that as well. And if they're thinking that the top 15 picks are pretty well balanced and they're going to stick and pick at 14, they're still kind of in that range. So maybe this all works with their plan. The only thing I'll say, just to add on to that, is as far as like what I want them to do with this pick. Like I think if they're going to make a trade, because again, like they could just take their picks tomorrow and the offseason is not done. Like they can still move prospects and still make trades. Like they don't have to necessarily get anything done before tomorrow, but that pick has much higher value now than it will once you select somebody. Because
Oh, 100%.
because once you lock someone in, unless a team likes that specific guy, they're not going to do business with you, or you'll have to move one of your other prospects and whatnot. So you're again hoping that if the plan is to trade it, that get it done over the next, because teams are going to value that pick much more if they can go and get their guy, so to say. So that's definitely something that I'm hoping to see before tomorrow, and I guess we'll see what's to come. But
Yeah.
all right, I think that pretty much wraps it up as far as these couple press conferences go. But
Oh, I was a little upset at first. I'm like, but after seeing Sam Reinhart lift the cup, I'm just so happy for all of them. It is great. The Florida Panthers avoided being the biggest choke artists in the history of sports. That's cool.
yeah, I agree, man. It was cool to see. It was cool to see them get the win. I posted about it on the Sabres Spotlight Twitter that my feelings are just kind of like, I just don't really care. Like it's cool to see them win, but I also like don't care all that much. Like everyone was so like pissed about like, oh my gosh, and it is annoying to hear like everyone say like, oh, this player couldn't get it done in Buffalo, and now that they win here. But I'm just like, listen, like our situation is what it is. Like I'm not gonna let that bother me. I'm not gonna get too caught up in that. At the end of the day, it's like whatever the Sabres got to do to kind of get there is all I'm really focused on. And I'm not going to
Yeah,
let the fact that like Reinhardt and like Montour and all these guys like won a Stanley Cup when it's like it doesn't really matter in the long run. And Oposo winning, as much as he's the one that like kind of annoys me the most, it's also like good for the Sabres because we get a fifth round pick now instead of a seventh. So
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle, for doing that. And did you hear him in his interviews afterwards? Have you found any? Because he was talking about his son and how he was playing hockey in the driveway with his son, and he was like, when I was your age, this made me like get in my feels, man. He was like, when I was your age, I was playing hockey in the driveway with my dad, and we were talking about how cool it would be to be in the Stanley Cup final. And tomorrow, your dad is playing in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final, and I'm like, that's the shit I live for, man. That's so awesome. That's what these players play for, is their families and stuff. And it's like, all right, that was really cool, really really cool that they had that experience and ended up winning.
yeah, and I was a little surprised that like he got the Cup third.
Yeah, dude, I was sick. Because there's a big thing where it's all like everyone in the media is like, oh, who's gonna get the cup, second after the
Right.
captain, and who got it second? Ekblad, I think, might have, because
No,
he was.
no, it was Bob.
Okay, yeah, Bob got it. So Bob got it second, and then Oposo, and then Ekman Larson. It's like, oh, Oposo getting the cup third is so awesome. That just goes to show that, like, as soon as he got there, they probably were like, we love this guy. Like,
Yeah.
I know he was burnt out by the end here, and it's like we're kind of like still upset with him over that, and it's like that really sucks how it turned out. But when he got there, he probably was rejuvenated. So good for
I
him.
know.
Good for them. Good for the city. I'm addicted to watching Panthers fans reacting to the clock ticking down on TikTok. It's
Yeah.
just like so fucking cool. They're just freaking out. I want that to be us someday.
I know. I know. And that's the part that stings is like you can't like as much as like it maybe like hurts or is like annoying to if you let yourself feel that for like these guys to win is like this like the organization had all these guys. It's like you had these guys and you didn't make it work, and it's just they can't blame anyone but themselves at the end of the day. So that's what's tough. So it was cool though. I was like I said, I was surprised to see him get the cup third, and I think you're bang on when it does it shows you like in the moment when I watched that I was kind of like, oh man, this is like obviously you win the Stanley Cup and you're super excited about that, but like part of me was like, do you feel like you were so much of it because you're only there for 17 games? But then for him to get the cup third, I'm like, that shows me that like he meant something to this team and like he made a difference when he was there and we've always said that he's a good guy and whatnot, so that's not surprising, for but that was kind of an aha moment for me that like as much as I've kind of like shit on Kyle a little bit for like not getting it done here because that's annoying. Like he clearly made an impact in Florida and now he's a Stanley Cup champion, so that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I'm going. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm gonna try it real quick.
What are you trying to pull up here? Were you getting a little surprise?
No, 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 no. I'm just
Okay.
trying to. I'm gonna try and share my screen so we can go over the results of the NHL bracket that we had, our pool, because I have the post here, but again with the Wi-Fi being weird, I don't know if it's gonna
Yeah,
work all
I'm
that much.
unsure
But
what's going on,
so
but it's okay.
I'm gonna try and share the screen
I
here
got
in a
some
second.
breaking news for you, non-Sabre related.
All right, go ahead.
The Nashville Predators are signing goaltender UC Saros to an 8-year extension.
Shit. All right. Well, there goes any trade rumors.
Yeah, I know. Holy fuck.
Right after I just say, "Oh, I think you're gonna not see these long deals anymore." But Saros is
Yeah, I mean,
he
he's one of the guys you have an exception for. Like, there's like
yeah,
four of them, and he's one of them. Like,
yeah.
dude, all they drafted. This is the thing about it's weird, man, because they have this goalie. I forget his first name. Askarov, who is unbelievable. He's a young player. I guess he's gonna be Saros's backup this year. He's similar to a Levi situation where he dominated in the AHL.
Hmm.
He's like a couple of years older than Levi. But now you're giving your old, who is admittedly an elite goalie, an 8-year extension while you have this guy waiting in the wings. Like Nashville, like makes no sense to me. Like they seem to do things that I'm like, what? Like what is that? But it somehow always works for them.
Wasn't their GM kind of crazy? Was it Barry Trotz?
Well, yeah, their GM is Barry Trotz now, but they had like David Poyle for a while, who just got inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame this week, or maybe he got inducted last year. Yeah, maybe this year, last year, I don't fucking know. But they always seem to do shit that I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna work, and then they end up like sneaking into the playoffs, which we haven't seen for 13 years. So
Yeah.
why
Yes.
no?
Yeah, that is an interesting scenario, but good for Saros. I mean, Saros getting the bag. And can you see
Another
this?
bag,
Can you see
another
this on
bag.
your screen?
I can't see it.
You don't see it. All right.
I don't see it.
I mean, I see it on mine, so I'm assuming it's maybe working, but we don't have to spend too much time on this. I already tweeted it out earlier, but the uh, the standings for our NHL playoff bracket are final now, and shout out to Sabres Fun Stats, who is a good follow on Twitter as well, and certainly engages with some of our stuff. So appreciate him doing our bracket pool, and he comes out on top with 342 points. A nice little bracket there with the Florida Panthers winning. Second place goes to Point with 266 points, and then I think your buddy Colin is CMAC, right? CMAC 923. So he comes in third
Yep,
with
yep.
217 points. You
And
actually
then I
came
was
in,
in fourth.
yeah, you came in fourth with 204 points. Not too bad. I am gonna take my loss this year because I came in dead last. I had such a horrible bracket apparently, and had only 113 points. But if you can see this, thanks for everyone for participating. Hopefully next year this can grow even bigger. Like I said, this year was fun to at least have 11 people in it, and hopefully as we keep going and more people listen, that we're able to grow this next year, because that would be fun to get a little bit more engagement with it. But thanks to everyone that did that, and I think with that we can move into more league stuff then, right? That kind of
Yeah,
sums up the
yeah,
Sabres.
yep.
Let's go. You want to go trades first?
Yeah, because there's
Kind of
been
like,
like pretty good. I mean, yeah, let's do trades first, and then we can talk about a little bit else.
yeah, okay, all right. So we'll go with trades first. We'll start with the Calgary Flames because they've made a couple moves, and this was one of the teams that everyone kind of expected to be selling and kind of rebuilding, and it definitely seems like they're doing that as we go through the 2024 offseason. Initial trade was about a week ago, I think, and they traded, no surprise, Jacob Markstrom, the goalie, to the New Jersey Devils. There was speculation about this in season. It never happened. If it did, maybe that saves Ruff's job, though, and then he doesn't.
Lindy's job.
He
Lindy's got
doesn't.
to be so mad.
I
He's got to be
know.
so pissed. Like they needed goaltending the entire year. Like from puck drop, their goaltending was brutal.
Yeah.
And like there were Markstrom rumors, like you said, like as early as like not Halloween. That's too early. Like Thanksgiving, Christmas ish. There are Markstrom rumors, and then they go out and do this now. Like, oh my god, he's got to be like, are you kidding me, man?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But so they trade Jacob Markstrom to the Devils, and in return they get defenseman Kevyn Ball and a 2025 top 10 protected first round pick. So not bad for the Flames there to at least secure a
At
top
least they
10
got a
pick.
first. Yeah, first they got at least they got a first. Like, that's
Yeah.
fine. They weren't going to do much better for Markstrom. He's up and down, but when he's up, man, he's really good. Really, really good player.
Yeah, I don't know if do they have another goalie? Like who's their other goalie? Do they have
They have
someone?
a they have a Levi basically, like
Oh, okay.
Dustin Wolf. Dustin Wolf. He's a small goalie. Has been in the AHL for 2 seasons, and he's played 2 straight like unbelievably dominant seasons. Like, he will start for them,
Yeah.
and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, he's the next guy in line. So this makes sense for them. They want, like you said, they're rebuilding. They want to give the crease to the young guy.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. So okay, so that makes so at least the first trade makes a lot of sense, and then second trade here, Washington making a couple moves as well. Their first trade also with the Flames, so they acquire Andrew Mangiapane from Calgary in exchange for a 2025 second round pick. So this one broke just a few hours ago, I think, and there's been a little bit more discourse over this trade because I think this is someone that Sabres content creators, Sabres fans online, we're kind of eyeing up as maybe a possibility to get here. And what do you think about this other trade here for Calgary with Mangiapane?
I was upset at first, I'll be honest, that we couldn't beat this. And then I remembered he had a 10-team no trade clause, and I'm like, well, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But why would anyone wait? I know, like, this is rich coming from a Sabres fan, that we haven't
Yeah, I
made the
already know what
playoffs
you're
in
gonna say.
13 seasons. But why would the fuck would anyone wait for Washington? They
I
are
know,
going
I know.
nowhere, dude. They are a dead team. They're going nowhere. I get they made the playoffs, but they were one of the worst playoff teams in the history of the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. This is
So
where you wonder, like, what else goes into it, right? Like, family dynamics, or like, I don't know where he's from. Like, there's a lot of things
lifetime,
that go into play.
maybe like being on the team when Ovechkin breaks the Gretzky scoring record. Like, I don't fucking know. I
Yeah,
I don't know. It baffles me why he would wait for Washington, but whatever. It's just another asset that Kevyn Adams didn't go for, and we have to live with it.
yeah. So that one kind of sucks because I was a fan of Mangiapane, and we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. But the other move Washington made, this is hilarious. So it's just a one for one deal. The Kings trade Pierre Luc Dubois to Washington for goaltender Darcy Kemper. Just a one to one trade. Very strange, very weird. And PLD, man, I don't know. I don't know what is his deal.
Seasons. Like, he had a killer playoffs once for Columbus, and everyone's like, okay, this former third overall pick is breaking out. He's going to be the next, like, elite player. And then he faltered like miserably. Like, he was terrible. And props to uh the Kings for getting out of his contract. Like, they traded him with no retention. Getting
Yeah.
out of that long, like, 7 years left on his deal, like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
awful. But when you look at it, what did LA trade for him? Iafallo, who else? Who else? Like, three other pieces, like, good pieces for him, and then dumped him off for a trash goalie. Like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
like, that is some horrible asset management. Like,
But it
Rob,
goes
like,
to speak about him too, right? That like it's kind of like one of those things where like the Bills right now, where they're literally paying like all this money to not have Diggs. It's like they took the L so fast
yeah,
after a year, and we're
yeah,
like, this guy's not a part of the
yeah.
solution.
After one season, man, one season,
Yeah.
like, you gotta, like, it's a double edged sword because I'm bashing Rob Blake for making the trade in the first place, and then having to ship him off. But at least they got rid of the guy and the whole deal.
Yeah.
Like, so
That's the thing. Like, if you at least have the foresight where, like, after 1 year, you're already knowing, like, this isn't going to work out, then I guess just take the L early and start that process, early on, as opposed to waiting 3 more years. And then people are even more pissed because it's like, why couldn't you identify this earlier? But
yeah, Weird,
Yeah.
weird trade. Weird trade.
So who knows? In another year's time, we'll probably be talking about him going from Washington to somewhere else. So we'll
Dude, the
see.
guy just plays on a new team like every year.
Yeah, he's just a suitcase.
It's your favorite term.
Couple last trades here. This one has some implications for the Sabres, just being a little in division. Boston Bruins trade Linus Allmark to Ottawa for Jonas Corposalo, Mark Kostelik, and a 2024 first round pick. So
I believe that's
interesting
25th
trade.
overall. 25th overall in this draft.
I believe you're right. Yeah. I didn't put it in there, but yeah. So they get. So it's not. I mean, it's not horrible, I guess. But what do you think?
I think they could have done way better, but they were hamstrung by almost no trade. So
So
I
you
can't.
think you think Boston lost?
Yeah, 100%. Dude,
Yeah.
this trade, Corpusalo was awful. Like, I know that people go to Boston and they play better. I know. My biggest worry is to like dunk on Jonas Corpusalo right now, and then he goes to Boston and ends up being a viable backup to Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah.
But dude, he was brutal. Like he kind of sunk the Ottawa Senators season, similar to how the New Jersey Devils goalies sunk their season. So we'll see. I mean, Bruins didn't really do great here. Cass looks like a fourth liner AHL guy, and I guess the
Right.
Bruins like are
That's what he
looking
is
to
right now.
they're looking to like shop that first, like for additional help.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about picks.
But I'm kind of more in shock that Ullmark waived for the friggin' Senators.
I know that is bizarre. That is bizarre. Does he have any links to them?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, because
It's
he's
just
not
odd.
Canadian, right?
I no, he's Swedish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He did like an interview today, like talking about. I didn't listen to it, but he talked about why he moved, like why he waived. It like had to do with like family stuff. I saw some clips, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works out for them. But hey, Ottawa just got better in net.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so again, that's a team that the Sabres are going to be competing with in division, and playing a handful of times each year. So we'll see Allmark again, since he's staying in the East. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes from this one. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Boston took what they could get, with some of Allmark's restrictions and whatnot, and we'll see what they end up doing with that first round pick if they actually keep it. I would assume that Kevyn Adams is going to take that and move down from 14 to 25, and maybe pick up a couple more assets for the Sabres here. But
Yeah.
last trade is, at least the last one that we want to elaborate on here. Detroit, the Red Wings trade Jake Wallman and a 2024 second round pick to San Jose for the famous future considerations.
I, what the fuck is Detroit doing? I fucking hate the Red Wings,
Dude,
dude.
Detroit makes no sense.
I hate this organization. I hate Steve Yzerman. I hate their stupid little.
What does that even mean? Is that just money? Yeah, but it has to be something, right? Right. I know. We did
It's
last
nothing.
year.
It's like maybe it's a pays for like a Thai massage or something. I don't know. It's nothing. But dude,
But why would you just ship out a second round pick and a player for nothing?
they gotta be doing something crazy in free agency. Like they gotta be trying to sign Stamkos or something in
Okay,
free
so they're
agency.
trying to free up cap space or
But
something.
you could have done it with a different player. Like Wallman is legitimately good. Like every time he scored overtime goals, he's doing great. He's all over the ice and shit. But I saw an article where a former GM, or like not a former GM, a current GM on another team was saying like, I can't believe he did this because I know of at least 10 teams that would have offered something like for Wallman, like something good. So Yzerman
Yeah.
never even told anyone that the guy was available.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. It's very bizarre. But Iserman does these things, man. The Iser plan is
Yeah, I'm
all
sick
over
of
the
it.
place.
I'm
I'd
sick
like
of
to
it.
see that blueprint because I'm pretty sure it's just kind of scribbles and doodles all over the place. So
Yeah, Steve Eiserman has this aura of like building the Tampa Bay Lightning into that cup winning team. I'm giving all the credit to their current GM Julian Breezeball when he was the assistant GM. I'm giving Eiserman no credit. Like
well, that's a good segue into our next little bit of news here. Speaking of GMs, because Ken Holland is out as GM of the Oilers,
yeah, this was
and
known a little bit ago, but it's
yeah,
official now.
yeah, I guess. What is the what do you know what the division is here? Is it just that they couldn't get it done all the way? Like they've reached the playoffs in all 4 seasons under him, but weren't able to get the cup. I mean, was there a chasm between the two sides? I don't really know the whole story here.
No, they just he just kind of wanted to be done. Like he went on to what team did he go to? He went to a team. I want to say Columbus. I could be wrong.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't put it in there.
I'm pretty sure I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he moved to Columbus to be like in their organization. But
Okay.
I think he just wanted to move on. Honestly, that there was really no like animosity or any like controversy of why. It was just they're just done.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so we'll see what happens there with the Oilers GM. I don't think they've appointed anybody yet as far as like a new GM goes, unless you've heard something.
Not yet. No, not yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, and then the Kings going back to their original logo, and they revealed the design for next season. So I don't. I know you
Dude,
like them.
I think they're so sick, man. I think they're nasty.
It's weird because like when I saw the logo just itself, or at first, I wasn't like super crazy about it. Like it's definitely cleaner. It's definitely better than what they had, last year.
Yeah,
But seeing it just kind of like free space and not with the full kit, I was like, I don't know. It's like it's okay. It's a little underwhelming. But then when you sent me the other day like the full uniform, I was like, oh, okay, that is cool. And
it is.
apparently they
Like,
had a lot of like player feedback on the design and whatnot.
dude, I love them. I have like nothing bad to say about them. It's so much better than their old logo.
As cool
You
as like
see,
as cool as it looks in like the colors, because like their colors are just like black, white, and silver.
yeah.
Like it's like it's not like I don't know, like it's not like the greatest like color scheme, but it's also awesome at the same time. Like
Well,
it's
dude,
weird.
you know what the Kings remind me? The Kings are the Raiders. Like they have a very classic looking
Yeah.
like logo. They should have stuck with that. Like I mean, they're going back to it now. But like the Raiders will never change their logo and never change their colors, and that's like
Oh no.
you see their uniform and you're like, okay, that's the Oakland Raiders or the wow Oakland Raiders, damn, the Vegas Raiders, and like I don't know, I think it just works. It just works for them. Now you don't have it in here, so I'm not sure if you've seen it, and if not, you have to look it up. But have you seen the Anaheim Ducks jersey reveal?
I didn't know they actually
Oh,
revealed. I
they
know
went a
they're all
they did a complete rebrand.
right. I'm
All
gonna
right,
go look it
let's
up.
get live reaction. Let's get a
Would they
what?
would they tweet it?
Yeah,
All right, I'll go find it.
we're getting a live reaction on what you think of the Ducks new logo. Some people hate it, some people love it. I'll tell you, I'm not trying to like make you biased or anything. I think it's so nasty. I love it.
All right, let's see. It's probably just the picture that they have as their profile picture, but all right, it's the red.
It's orange.
Oh, it's orange. See, I don't do good with colors or shades. All right,
So
I'm gonna hold up.
scroll
Is this
down.
one? This one?
Yeah, dude, I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Like it's awesome, dude.
It's
Like
like it looks like like you got the duck in there. It also looks like a little like Jason Voorhees though, like kind of like a pissed off like angry duck. I like it.
yeah, yeah. If you want, like, not now, but they showed the new logo compared with like the old Disney logo that they used, and they
Yeah.
definitely made some changes. Like the eyes are red in the new logo. Like they made them meaner looking. There's a picture of Radko Gudas. If you scroll down and find it, like I think it's Zegras and Gudas. Dude, he is the only person I've ever seen make a duck look pissed. You know, he just looks mean in that jersey, and I love the orange pants too. Their drip goes crazy. Like that is some crazy drip.
You see the caption they put with this
No,
Brutus photo?
no, no.
It says flock around and find out.
That's good. That's real good.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious. That is so funny. That's no, I like that, man. I think that was cool. See, like I like that better than the Kings, but like I said, the Kings looks fresh. It's definitely a good rework and redesign. It's funny because I've seen like online people are saying like I don't know if they announced their alternates yet, but people want them to do like Lakers colors like for the alternates, like yellow and purple. I think that'd be kind of dope. Yeah, yeah. The Utah Hockey Club though, like I do like their color scheme is sweet. So that's what their color scheme makes me think that like the Yeti would be such like an easy
I know,
transition for that.
doesn't it? It should be a fun weekend. Hopefully for all of us Sabres fans, and even going into Monday with free agency. I really hope that when we hit you guys with some content next week, that we have some fun stuff to talk about. See ya.